Jeff Saul was in the middle of moving into his new property when he and his housemates heard an unexpected sound. It came as a big surprise to all of them, so they followed the noises to their origin. What they found confused them. Wasn't the house supposed to be empty? Reddit user Jeff Saul is a resident of California. However, in July 2018, he and some friends decided to move into a new house together. He subsequently discovered just how complicated changing properties can sometimes be when he found an unexpected resident in his new house. Packing possessions and transporting them to the new house must have been difficult enough, and that was before Saul and company even got around to moving their pets in. Between them, the incoming occupants had 4 fur babies, 2 canines and 2 felines. However, unknown to the residents, things were about to get even more complicated. The guys discovered something while they were in the process of moving in. A strange noise alerted them to the fact that they weren't alone on the property. They first became aware of the issue when they heard something unanticipated. The unusual noise wasn't what the residents expected to hear, at least not during moving day. It confused them, but they resolved to find out what was causing the disturbance. Saul and one of his friends followed the sounds and discovered they were actually emanating from outside. It appeared that whoever was still on the property was on the other side of the front door, and when they opened it, they found one of the house's previous occupants on the doorstep. The ex-resident in question was a calico cat, who instantly dashed over the threshold and into the house. When he saw it, Saul remembered a conversation he'd had with the property's old owners. The tale they told him had happened on the family's own moving day. Saul encountered the previous resident's little daughter before they vacated the house. She told him that the family cat had disappeared during the turmoil of their move. All the change and noise had apparently disturbed their pet, and it had run off as a consequence. Despite an extensive search for Crispy, as her owners had named her, they couldn't find the tortoiseshell cat anywhere. However, the distraught family weren't able to put off their move any longer, so they had to leave Crispy behind. But they hadn't given up and were desperately dreaming of seeing their pet again. Unfortunately, Crispy's owners were no longer in the same state. They'd moved to Texas. Judging by the cat's behavior, Saul suspected that his new visitor was none other than the missing Moggy. He explained to animal news website The Dodo just why he'd come to that conclusion. "Once I heard the meows, I opened our front door to see her run inside," Saul said of the cat. "She ran to our living room to only have the most confused look on her face." Seeing the feline's reactions tugged at Saul's heartstrings. "I felt bad for the young girl," Saul continued. "She ran to other rooms to only come to emptiness." On Reddit, he added, "She was walking inside just looking confused. Empty rooms and strange people walking around inside must have been scary for her." Because of the cat's familiarity with the house, Saul was even more convinced he'd found Crispy. So he and his friends contacted the cat's owners to discuss what to do, and they came up with a plan of action. Saul and company were happy to entertain Crispy for a while, and she seemed content in their company. The residents of the household are animal lovers, so they showered the misplaced cat with affection. Saul reported as much on his Reddit post. "She got lots of love, scratches, and belly rubs," Saul informed readers on the thread. Easing Crispy's stress and confusion was the least the residents could do for her. But as much as they appreciated Crispy's visit, the residents wanted to see her back with her worried owners. As luck would have it, a friend of Crispy's family had business at Saul's. To be more specific, they were heading to the California property to collect some belongings for the previous owners. In addition, they agreed to return Crispy home. When the visitors arrived, they confirmed the cat was Crispy and took her with them. No doubt her family would be overjoyed to see her again. Saul informed readers following Crispy's story just how much the cat's owners missed her. One Reddit user asked Saul if the owners leaving Crispy behind had been a deliberate act. He replied that Crispy's loss had definitely not been intentional, it wasn't on purpose. Saul wrote, "The young daughter seemed really sad. Hope to hear about her joy when Crispy gets home." Losing a pet is one of the worst things that can happen to animal lovers. It's also a good reason why you should always microchip your fur babies. As for Crispy, she was fortunate to find such a loving household as Saul's to stay with. If she was abandoned, they would have kept her. "As much as I would love to have this young lady, she belongs with her regular family," Saul wrote on Reddit. "They seem to be really happy to hear she was found. Safe travels, Crispy. Don't forget to write."